When we think about space, we usually picture this grand final frontier, a place of wonder and exploration. But what if we looked at it from a completely different angle? So today, let's take a different kind of journey, one to really understand our place in a cosmos that is both incredibly hostile and just unimaginably vast. Okay, let's dive right in.
All right. To really get a handle on this, let's start with a really personal question. I mean, forget the spaceship, forget the suit. If you were suddenly just out there in the wild of our solar system, how long do you think you'd last?
So think of this as our own cosmic survival tour. We're going to visit our planetary neighbors one by one to see if there's anywhere else we could maybe call home, even for just a moment. And spoiler alert, you're probably not going to need a big suitcase.
Okay, first stop. Let's see how friendly the neighbors are. This is going to be a quick, rapid-fire tour of all the deadliest spots right here in our own backyard. First up, Venus. It might sound lovely, but don't let the name fool you. The pressure there is, well, it's so insane, so absolutely crushing, and the air is just pure poison. You wouldn't even last a second. Poof, gone, just like that. Okay, so Venus is a definite no. What about Mars or Mercury? Could we do better there? Well, on Mars, you'd be unconscious in about 15 seconds from the lack of air. You might hang on for, maybe 2 minutes tops? And Mercury? Same deal, about 2 minutes, but only if you could pull off this impossible trick of staying in that tiny sliver of twilight between the side that's hot enough to melt lead and the side that's unimaginably cold. All right, what about the big guys? Jupiter, Saturn? Yeah, don't even bother. See, there's no ground to stand on. You just fall and fall and fall, deeper and deeper into that atmosphere until the pressure just, well, it squishes you. It's game over in less than 5 seconds. So you starting to see a pattern here? Whether it's the insane pressure on Venus, the killer temperatures on Mercury, the lack of air on Mars, or the freezing hurricane-force winds on the ice giants that would get you in under 2 seconds, the point is there's nowhere safe to land. The whole solar system is basically a giant death trap.
But wait, after all that instant, brutal chaos, there's one place that breaks all the rules: our home. Right here, on Earth, you don't just get a couple of minutes. You get, if you're lucky, around 80 times years. I mean, that difference is just staggering, isn't it? It's the only spot we know of, anywhere, that gives life this incredible chance to actually, live. All right, so lesson learned. Standing on other planets is a terrible idea. Got it. But what if you didn't have to? What if you could just, float in that big, empty vacuum of space? That's gotta be safer, right? More peaceful? So let's run a little thought experiment, a classic what if. Imagine you're on the International Space Station and you decide to just jump off. What happens? You probably picture yourself gently floating down, like a skydiver in slow motion. But the reality? Oh, the reality is something else entirely. And this is where that peaceful image just shatters. First off, you wouldn't fall down at all. You'd be trapped by gravity stuck in orbit, circling the Earth for years. Second, while you're stuck in that loop, remember, you're screaming along at thousands of miles per hour. Even a tiny fleck of paint, a bit of space junk, would hit you like a bullet. And let's say, by some miracle, you dodge all of that. You'd eventually lose momentum and get pulled in, only to burn up completely on re-entry. So no, orbit isn't a peaceful float. It's a high-speed trap. So we've pretty much established that space will kill you up close. It's hostile. But there's another barrier, one that's maybe even more profound. It's not about being crushed or frozen. It's about the mind-blowing, impossible scale of it all. And to even begin to wrap our heads around that scale, we have to talk about our greatest traveler, Voyager 1. This little probe is the farthest thing humanity has ever sent out into the cosmos. It's like our own message in a bottle, tossed into an ocean of stars. And boy, is it moving. For more than 45 years, it's been hurtling through space at over 61,000 kilometers an hour. That is just an incredible speed, a real triumph of engineering, right? But, and this is a big but, here's where we have to totally shift our perspective. That speed is amazing by our standards, for sure. But on a cosmic scale, is it really fast enough? And this right here just lays out the problem perfectly. Okay, so after almost 50 years of going that fast, Voyager is 22 light hours away. That means it takes light 22 hours to get there. But the next star over, Proxima Centauri, our closest neighbor, that's 4 light years away. We're talking about the gap between hours and years. It's not even close. It's a chasm.
And if you think that's a big gap, hold on. Let's zoom out. Our home galaxy, the Milky Way, is 100,000 light years from one side to the other. And the next big galaxy over, Andromeda, that's 2.5 million light years away. These numbers, they're just too big to really imagine.
So, what are we supposed to do with all this? What's the takeaway? When you put it all together, the fact that space is trying to kill you at every turn, and that the distances are just impossible, it kind of forces you to look back home from the edge of everything we know.
And that, maybe, is Voyager's most important gift to us. You see, on its way out, it did something incredible. It turned its camera around one last time and snapped a photo of home. And in that photo, Earth is nothing. It's a tiny pale blue dot, just hanging there in a sunbeam. Everything, every person, every war, every piece of art, our entire history, all of it, right there on that tiny speck of dust. And that really brings us to the final question, doesn't it? This whole tour has shown us that we live on this incredibly fragile, lonely little outpost in a universe that is just vast and frankly hostile. So the real question isn't about rocket science anymore. It's, now that we know this, what do we do? How does knowing how alone and fragile we are change how we see our world and how we see each other?